Oh, wait a minute. Turn off all the cell phones.
Hi, I'm Charles, and I want to talk to you about food and cooking, some of the subjects that all of us are interested in. I came to Atlanta from a small town, which most of the people in our community did. I grew up 70 miles from the Gulf of Mexico. We had a lot of fresh seafood. My father ran a grocery store. So I've been around food all of my early life. After I came to Atlanta, I did my stint as a waiter and spent 6 years in a gourmet cookware store with cooking classes. I've also spent about 15 years working with different catering companies, and in the last several years have been doing catering on my own. So that's my background in food and food preparation, and I'd like to share some of it with you. How's that going?
That's great. That was great. Okay, most people would have taken 4 times to do that. Where's the smallest town off the ocean?
Not off the ocean, 70 miles from Thomasville.
Okay.
And it's 35 to Tallahassee and 35 to the Gulf. Yeah. Most people don't realize how close it is, but it's right on that bend.
Yeah.
10 miles from the Florida line, 11 miles from the Florida line, the shortest way.
Where they make the furniture.
No, that's North Carolina.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Where was I next? Okay, you ready? Some of the things I'd like to talk about is the tools we use in cooking. For instance, a chef knife, what it does, what it can do, and how it can help you. Other knives that are specially made for that. Such things as whisk and the different whisks and what they can do to help you, and how you can use them in cooking to your advantage. I also like to talk about menu development, shopping, setting up a pantry, basic things that each person can use in their own planning of their food for themselves or for their friends if you like to entertain. One subject that is very pertinent right now is water. And we all have been told we need to drink 8 glasses of water a day, and if you have as hard a time as doing that as I do, you might be interested in some alternative sources. Water can be found in a lot of fruits and vegetables. For instance, watermelon gets its name for a very good reason. It's full of water. Another good source is lettuce. Iceberg lettuce in particular is primarily water. A source that a lot of people don't think about would be Jell-O. Jell-O is basically a water-based product with high protein and does have sugar, but you can get it without that. Also, another good source are soups. Soups are liquid base and can help in your regular food consumption to get water into your system. The fruit soups that are popular in the summertime, which can be used as either a first course or a dessert, get you the source doubly that way. And even something that seems like an evil treat, like ice cream, is a good source of a liquid. So these are all things you can investigate to increase your liquid consumption in the hot days of August.
That's good. Let's see. How can we need to do something where we can do it, where he can do sort of a close.
I hadn't thought about that.
What are you going to do next? What would you like to do next? You mentioned the pantry, the shopping.
I really thought the tools.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I was thinking about you talking to that shop too.
Right. Well, I think what you might do is say, well, so look forward to upcoming episodes where we'll talk about tools, or something where it leads into because I assume what we might do is where you will show people how to use tools.
Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking I could stand up here for that. Would that be too abrupt?
What, to go ahead and do
to
that?
Stand up? No, just to stand up for the closing.
Now, we're not in your way here. When he moves over. All right, Buzzy. pick it up anywhere you want. And then just like you're carrying on a conversation with me or something. Yeah. Well, let me show you. I'll tell you, that light might be too hot, man.
Which light? My light's good.
Is it?
No, because if you shut it off, it's
all right.
going to be good. But I'd go in a little tighter, right? Because
All right.
well, this is going to show his hands. You don't need to show his hands. I'd still get him from like the waist up. And then this one we cut to his hands because all we're seeing here is just just
Okay.
that kind of thing.
All right, good. There's anytime you're ready.
We hope you'll tune in for some future shows when we'll talk about things such as which knife to use for which function, learn how you can chop and mince with a chef knife, how you can bone and work with meats with that type of knife, the advantages of a serrated edge, and even a long, thin knife for slicing. So tune in for future shows on talking about food and how to work with the implements used in cooking it.
That's great.
Okay.
Now,
Now the only thing,
wait a minute. Now, if you could say, and I'm Charles Crawford.
yeah, I
And
was
you're
saying never
watching.
closed it.
Oh,
I would say, and I'm Charles Crawford.
I'd rather leave the Crawford off.
Okay.
I just
you can,
nearly always go by
that's
Charles
fine.
anyway.
That's great.
I mean, it's not even on my card.
Right. And this has been Charles with OutTV. Something, you know, whatever you feel comfortable saying. Anytime.
This has been Charles with OutTV. Tune in for more food talk.
Good.
Sounds fair.
That's something that came to me too, coming out here literally, was using the term food talk.
I like that. Food talk.
I do too.
We can put that on the web.
We could put it on the web, Food Talk this week, and then, Buzzy, you can contribute one subject or something a week at the website, you know.
Well, we can take some of
We
this, and as he goes through.
Well, I'd like to
he's
get
chopping
somebody
stuff.
paying for this damn thing, we get some money coming in, so we could pay you to write a column once a week. You know?
This would just, I mean, that's why I was thinking to do this as a, a thing to show them.
Well, now I'll show you, I'm gonna show them.
Well, why not taking it over like we talked earlier to the people that have these utensils and stuff? Because I assume
Because you could really develop your talk more in that, there's a lot more to this than I know. And if you go there, because there is,
Right.
that's something else I thought about throwing into, I'm still learning,
Yeah, well.
Because I cannot possibly claim to be an expert, because I'm not.
Constantly
Yeah, and I think one of the things that people
Professionally trained.
would really like to see is, like, if you went to that utensil place that you showed me,
Well-
is to show them all the different odd things that are in there, because there's all kinds of kitchen things.
And in maintenance, because you still, even if you know how to use steel and all, you still need to have your knives professionally sharpened once a year
Absolutely.
at least. So I mean, it would seem to be a lot to kick into them to me.
Buzzy, why don't you do, just for sakes, why don't you, because you seem to be so much more comfortable now, why don't you do one more opening shot for us, so we have two to choose from? Is that,
You mean over there?
yeah, you won't need that camera.
Okay. I think he wants you to.
Yeah, or you can do it right there, you can do it wherever you want. It's just totally up to you. I just thought it'd be, okay.
Hi, my name is Charles, and I'm here to talk to you about food, how to prepare it, techniques to use in preparation, the tools to use in preparation. I came to Atlanta from a small town in the South, like most of the people in our community. I grew up 70 miles from the Gulf. We had lots of fresh seafood. My father and his father before him ran a grocery store. So I've been around food all of my early years. I've done my stint as a waiter in Atlanta, and I've worked for the past 15 years off and on with several catering companies, recently having gone into my own business. I also spent 6 years managing a gourmet foodware store where we had cooking classes. There's a lot to be learned, and we can share our knowledge with each other. The different tools we can talk about of which knife to use when, which whisk to use when, and the different techniques that they perform. Can discuss different menus and food preparation, both for your own cooking and for your entertaining. Can also talk about pertinent subjects. For instance, in the dog days of August and the heat we've all been suffering through, we're more concerned of our water consumption. The 8 glasses of water a day is hard to get down, it seems. But there are a lot of other sources of water we can go to. The foods we eat can contain water. For instance, melons, which are in season now. Watermelon is named that for one good reason. It's primarily water. Another good source is lettuce, iceberg lettuce in particular. Sources that you may not think about for liquids are Jell-O, which has high protein, does have sugar, but can be gotten without sugar. Soups are liquid base and a good source of vitamins and minerals. We also can use fruit soups both as first courses or desserts, which double the water content. And even an item as ice cream that you think of as forbidden is actually a source of a liquid. So tune in for future shows on subjects like our tools and techniques, which knife to use when, why different knives are made for different jobs, and wait, now I'm stuck.
That's okay. You got what you needed,
Okay.
which was really the beginning.
And yeah, I thought you could. The pitter patter of tiny feet. Oh, and the apron. Yeah. Oh, but do you know where the apron is? Where an apron is?
Look at the other closet. Going
The steps,
See if it's hanging out.
Okay.
apron.
Here.
I had mine out, and we had a distraction in the big house. Oh no, this isn't gonna say anything cutesy. We'll just do it backwards.
Well,
Yeah,
say is turn it around. Well,
but it'll still show. Let's see
I think
if
it's
he.
all right. Oh, it's going to show. I think
This is showing through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn it around.
Huh?
You want to wear it?
That's the only one you got?
Yeah.
No, I'll do without.
Okay.
Barbecue's not your thing, right?
Well, not for this, unless OB wants to run over to my house and get my plain white. You are a gopher, aren't you?
You're gonna go
How's the light look? How's the light look on you? Is it okay?
It looks fine.
This ain't Honduras. Don't you talk down to me.
right.
Okay. Buzzy, if you would just, we can do this in so many segments and parts, so you don't have to. Why don't you talk to this camera over here and just say, hi, I'm Charles.
Yeah, but let's move this rug over first, because
Welcome to Food Talk.
I
We
would-
can
yeah.
stop and do something else, and we'll just get that out of the way.
I was on my feet 10 hours last night.
Oh,
Oh, I want to, yeah, and leave it double. That'd be perfect.
Your feet or your knees?
Yeah, you probably need knee pads.
Yeah, I should have been so lucky.
Oh, Lord.
It was a wedding, and the groomsmen were getting really raunchy towards the end.
They always do. How's that?
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
What's your head buzzing?
Yeah, I was at a house, the Fuguas, you know, J.B. Fugua.
Yeah.
On each corner in their kitchen, they have a little duck hanging there, a little child's duck.
That's one of Catalina's clients.
Okay, so we need
Who?
to go over this one.
Catalina.
No, I think we'll just have Charles.
Mrs. Fugua?
Yes, he drives for them all the time.
Come on.
There you
I'd
go.
rather you open right there because we have you in your entire.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, that'll work.
You know, right, yeah.
Yeah.
You need to tell him, Charles, I'll tell him. So that they'll.
Well, he mentioned somebody the other night that is, I know too.
Yeah. Why don't we do that opening, and then we'll just sort of move on from there and get that out of the way. I would just make it simple. Hey, hey, it's Charles, and welcome to Food Talk. Anytime you're ready.
Oh, hi, I'm Charles, and we're here with Food Talk. Today we're going to do some sauces, some basic things that I learned when I was a child from my mother and have never forgotten, and would like to share with you all.
It's a good point, then we can cut from.
Okay, but we don't really need to. I was just going to go
you're
on.
fine. Okay. Now, I'm not in your way. You just do your thing. Just do like you're going to be telling OB.
Oh, I can talk to OB, but audience.
That's right over there, ain't there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Groucho. Say the ugly, see the duck. What is that Groucho used to do? Oh, when the duck drops down, say the secret word. I read the other day, nobody ever said it. Nobody ever won anything. Okay, you ready? Okay, the basic sauce that I like to work with is what we commonly call white sauce. And it is so easy to remember because it is, cut that. And you will cut that.
Absolutely. He's still felony.
Oh, I know he is. A basic white sauce is, easiest way to remember how to do it is 2 to 1. And that is 2 ingredients that are 2 parts each and 1 ingredient that is 1 part. And the 1 part is 1 cup of a liquid. The 2 parts are 2 tablespoons each of 2 other items. So 2 to 1 is the secret to the whole thing, and you start with 2 tablespoons of butter. That's the fat that is going to start your dish. And you take your butter sticks of mark, you take your 2 tablespoons and get your saucepan going. An open skillet's easiest to work with. What's happening?
Here's part of the problem.
Should have had a test run.
Don't turn that thing on.
You can't hear it. The light, it's out there. It's that post.
I hate these kind of gas cooktops because they do that. Now, I don't mind gas, but it's these things that go did-it-did-it-did-it-did-it.
That's what I'm talking about. Mine is electronic starter.
Oh, this isn't.
Yes, it is.
That's what that is.
That's what that is. Electronic
I thought I had the right one. No, want it. Okay. Do we want this on? Not now.
No, so I just did that. Just to make the gas.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Start back from, I guess, the butter. You take your 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just get your skillet
You
going.
take a tablespoon, a stick of butter is marked. You want 2 tablespoons of butter. That's your first of your 2 twos. And you put it in a saucepan, skillet. Open skillet's easiest to work with. And as that melts, you want to measure out with a dry measure. This is a spoon and is a liquid measure, not a dry measure. You want a dry measure and 2 tablespoons.
I get some kind of interference here. I don't know what it is, and keep going sound really bad.
It's still doing it?
Wouldn't be that,
The air vent,
no, the fluorescent light here. Sometimes they make a little noise.
it may be the air vent, you hear that?
No, it's a.
What, are you going to have to compensate with that light, or is that not going to matter?
Light on it, no,
Is that going to matter, not change your picture
That's
now?
fine.
Okay. So, we're back to the
Okay.
2 tablespoons of butter.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, no, 2 tablespoons of butter.
Okay, on a stick of butter, you cut off 2 tablespoons of butter and get it going in a pan. And while that's melting, you get a dry measure, which 1/8 of a cup is 2 tablespoons, 16 tablespoons in a cup. And with a dry measure, you can level off to be sure you got the right amount. And add it to your pan. And here you begin. One of the most important parts of making a sauce is your whisks. Whisks come in all sorts of sizes and shapes. This is the absolute best for making a sauce. But at this point, with this little pan, we'll use a smaller whisk. And you stir your flour into your butter. You're incorporating these 2 ingredients together. They're emulsifying as you do this. And each little grain of flour is absorbing some of the liquid from the melting butter. Also, at the same time, you're cooking the flour so you don't have a raw cereal taste. And pulling that off the fire to slow down the cooking a little bit, we get ready for our other ingredient. Remember, 2 to 1. We have 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of butter, and now we want 1 cup of milk. Any kind of milk can do. You can use regular milk, you can use skim milk, you can use half and half, you can use full cream. Excuse me, this keeps catching. Can you? It's caught on this handle right here twice.
That mic seems to be sensitive enough to where you could put it on his pocket if you wanted to, or wherever you wanted to put it to make it work.
How's that better?
Yeah, just as long as when I'm coming back and forth, it's not hanging out there.
Okay.
I don't know where I was.
Milk.
We get a cup of milk, which is our 1 of the 2 to 1. You can use regular plain milk. You could use skim milk if you wanted to cut back. You can use half and half if you want it richer. What we're going to do is use a half a cup of regular milk. We'll pour that in the pan, put it back on the heat, and stir it. The stirring is going to keep it smooth and silky, and it will thicken up. And then at this point, I will let it sit for a minute and get my other half a cup, going to half and half. This is going to be a fairly rich sauce. But the 2 together will help it keep from separating if you're going to use the sauce in a baked dish, which is something you might want to remember. And you can see we're thickening up here in the bottom. This process will keep happening. Okay, we can break now because this is going to get real boring.
And also, remember a little bit more to look at the camera too. Directly into the camera.
Yet not at the pan as much.
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying, I noticed that you look over here a lot of times. So look into the camera because you're talking to the people on TV.
Okay.
I mean, you
I was
could-
looking at him, I
Yeah,
guess.
Yeah.
Now, I'm used to talking to you about this sort of thing. Yeah,
Keep me- pull my
okay.
pants down. How's that?
Okay, well, it might help. Yeah. Okay, this is thickening up real nicely. So now we want to add the half a cup of cream. And this is still the basic part of our 2 to 1. Now we have 2, 2, and 1, even though we cut the 1 in half and have it in 2 parts. But this stirring with the whisk now is real important to keep your solids that have formed mixed in with the new liquid, so you're going for a smooth sauce. In this smaller pan, we now go to our larger whisk, which is specifically designed for sauces. Just makes the work a little easier and will smooth it out a little better. Works better in a bigger pan, but this will work okay in this pan. Lots of wrist action here, which ought to be good for you.
Tell us about that whisk.
Now we've gotten this nicely incorporated and smoothed out here. And from this point we can go in several directions. Remove it from the fire so it doesn't keep thickening up on you. And what we have is a medium white sauce. If you want it thicker, you can add more butter and flour. If you want it thinner, you can add more of your cream or any other liquid. One thing we can do is take a dry ingredient like mustard, dry powdered mustard, and take just a small amount of it with a little measuring spoon that's actually a liquid measure, but it'll work okay for what we're doing here, because this is a to-taste item. With the addition of a little mustard, but you need to break up the granules and stir them in, you'll get a sauce with a little sharper flavor. You might want to use it with a meat like chicken or veal. And it's a mustard sauce. You can take the same basic white sauce and use a liquid mustard, such as Dijon or Durkee's, either one will give you a little flavor and make your white sauce into a mustard sauce. This little game can be played with this basic mixture with any number of seasonings. Another popular one that you might try is with curry. Take a little curry powder. Again, start off with a small amount because this is something you can always add to, but it's hard to subtract from. And since this is a powder, you want to stir it real well to dissolve all your little powdered molecules into your sauce, and it'll change your color a little bit. It'll turn, either with the mustard or the curry, it's going to turn a little yellow depending on how much you put in there. But right there you've got 3 variations on a plain basic sauce that you can use to enhance beef, chicken, veal, seafood, any kind of fish really. Okay.
Okay, that was a good start right now. Then, Bud, don't you move. Why don't you, I want you to say, thanks for being with us on this week's.
And you're gonna taste it, right?
Huh?
Like, he's gonna taste it, right?
Yeah, why don't you taste it and say, oh, that's great. And you can put this on so-and-so and so-and-so. And then thanks for joining me this week in Food Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Be sure to tune in next week when I show you how to cook these wonderful artichokes.
Okay.
It is artichoke season.
Yeah. Well, let's have it. Is it seen over here?
No.
Okay.
But you can do that. That'll lead you into the next week's show. That closes you out.
Well, I hadn't even made a brown sauce yet.
Well, no, you know, you don't have to time date it. You can just say look forward to.
Right. We can go to that sauce into that too.
Yeah, but because you know what? I bet those would be good addition to the sauce. You know, they make a sauce for those. You can turn this off or leave it on.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I just wiggle it through.
Okay.
So now you want to go to just the closing?
Yeah.
Sort of like.
You taste it or something.
Yeah, I like that. I think you're right. That's a good idea.
Close it off.
Okay, this is a variation we've done here of 3 different sauces, which you can experiment on your own with your taste, what appeals to you, and came out just right. Give it a try. Tune in next time when we'll bring you fresh produce of the season, artichokes. Show you how to do a sauce for those and how to whip up a little artichoke entree. This is Charles with Food Talk.
Good.
That was good.
That's great.
Gather a lot at first. We don't even speak anymore. But I found out in the kitchen with her, this woman didn't really know how to cook. She could read and follow directions real well. She had no idea what a 2-to-1 white sauce was. Zilch. And I thought, that's such a basic part of cooking. Which is why I thought with Mike, with this, it was a good way to do it.
That works
Now
fine.
what we
That
do-
might be a way you might want to do a segment.
First time, honey.
Oh, please. You weren't there. How do you know?
I can imagine. I know your reputation.
Moi?
Is that moi?
Moi?
All right, you got the sound camera. Let's take it off. Here's what I want you to do, Buzzy, just real quick. Say, and look forward to coming up. We're going to do a barbecue duck.
I knew that duck was there for a reason.
Edward's going to cook the duck. We got it sitting here. Might as well use it as a prop.
Yeah.
Should we do it like there? Just
Why would this?
You can't see it.
no. I'll bring the camera right here. Bring the camera right here and say,
Was anything in here you can hang it?
no, let's let him go right there. All you want to say is, look forward to Food Talk when we talk about ducks. We got the duck. How to prepare a duck. Okay.
Well, I ain't doing that. The only time I cooked duck, it was horrible.
Well,
Well, no, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
We got a great recipe for cooking duck and it's fabulous.
Yeah, well, we'll have to do it, run it through first.
Yeah, no. I mean, we may not even do it. It's just that we've got the duck here.
I'll say such things
I'll
as.
change
There you go.
Don't focus it.
Right, sure, right. But this
That
gives us
much.
an opportunity to use you
Right.
times while you're here.
Oh, yes, fine. Yeah, I got all the time in the
If we need
world.
to put it in 2 weeks from now, that, hey, we're looking forward to Buzzy cooking something on the grill or whatever, we got
Charles.
Charles, excuse me, Charles. Okay, you're in business.
Coming up in the future, we'll be talking about barbecue and how to cook a duck on Food Talk with Charles.
Perfect, that was perfect. All right,
I love it.
And then we can talk about how to put OB down.
yeah, then we're gonna talk about old cocksuckers in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Flash.
Tales from